All right. Now we're live.
We hope it works this time. We've had some technical difficulties. We have a different setup than what we're used to.
Learning new technology.
New technology. Using a new phone.
Anyway.
The GoPro's on a trip without us.
Yes, which is very sad. The GoPro's in Hawaii and we're here.
Yes.
The story for another time. So I think the question is, why are we here?
Why are we here? So we're out of practice of live.
And we're sad because the year of Sanderson's over.
Yes.
And we used to do this every month.
We did.
And it was fun.
Because we got packages in the mail that had super fun and exciting things in them.
So we're trying to recreate the lost glory days. So we got a package in the mail.
Ta-da!
And we decided, and then we're thinking about what do we want to do. Yep. So we do have a package. We want to just for old time's sake.
Very briefly.
We're going to open it up and I don't know if it can be called an unboxing because it's just a package in the mail.
It's just a package in the mail.
And then,
yeah.
And then we want to discuss a book. We thought that what we do is from time to time discuss a book that we've both read.
Yep.
Recently.
Yes.
And one of the things we like about this is it has helped us read books together.
It has.
Because we're always reading, but we're often reading different things. And so we chose to read some books together. I guess there's no need for secrecy.
We actually read books together fairly often. We're in a book club that we read a book together like every other month, I think is how that works.
Once a quarter.
Once a quarter, we read a book together that way. And then we have the Sanderson books that we read together. And we're always reading and talking about the books that we are reading with each other. So...
And we decided this will help us to, one, document what we're reading together. Yes. And be a very open time to share our thoughts on those. We did talk about sharing appropriately.
Yes.
That's important online.
Yes.
So we have been reading the Alcatraz series. We actually read the entire Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians series by Brandon Sanderson.
Yep.
So our plan here today is to, one, open this box for old time's sake. Two, talk a little bit about our impressions of Alcatraz and then see how that goes. Yeah. And we're just trying this out.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions that we are going to discuss and give our opinions on.
Maybe. I think I've already forgotten what they are.
I wrote them down.
Oh, we wrote down some questions.
Yes.
So, do you want me to open this box?
Yeah, go ahead. Open it up.
I will cut this with this knife and then let you open it. Mostly because you ordered this.
I did order this.
Without really me being aware. So, my job is to handle the hardware.
I ordered it several months ago. I saw when this Kickstarter was happening.
And this is...
And I chose to not participate in the Kickstarter because I am not a big graphic novel fan. And we owned the other two of White. We own the other two of White Sands.
They're behind us on the shelf.
And they're actually signed by Brandon. So I was like, I already own the first two. Like, why do I need this one as well? But Brandon didn't want to continue with that series with the artist that he had. He didn't like the way that it was going. And so they did a Kickstarter that I guess this Kickstarter took forever. Like it took ages for them to iron it all out. And there was like misprinting that happened. And there was a bunch of stuff that went down with it. And so I was like, I am not participating in that. I'm just going to let it run its course. And then when it becomes available to the general public, I will order it.
And so the moral of this story is eventually we do buy all the
Yes, eventually we do.
We didn't buy it the first time around, but we did get our hands on it.
Except Alcatraz. I'm not buying Alcatraz.
Let's not say that so quickly. We will get to Alcatraz in a minute. So what do we have here?
It is all three of the graphic novels of White Sands with the new artist.
So it is the White Sand Omnibus.
It's called the White Sand Omnibus. Yep.
Omnibus.
That is what it is called.
Edition.
Yep.
Should we show the front of it?
So this is the front. I don't know how close to get with this new camera.
That's probably plenty close. Maybe.
And then it's pretty thick because it's all three of them.
Yes.
And then the back. So, yeah. This is a different artist than what's inside. This is not the same as the front cover. Different artist.
Same story.
Same story.
So one thing at Dragonsteel we've noticed is there was a gap in our knowledge because I think I'd read the first. I don't know if I ever read the second one. I definitely read the first White Sand, but it had been so long. I also struggled with graphic novels. And so, yeah, there's characters in here. Like right on the cover, you have Chris. When we got the Chris pin as part of your Sanderson, we both were like, who's
Who's
this?
this?
We have since learned some more about some of these characters and realized I definitely wanted to go back and catch up on this little corner of the Cosmere we are not as familiar with.
Not as familiar with White
So,
Sands. So now we have it and we can read it.
Yes. Wow. So that was a fun unboxing.
Taryn will read it before all the rest of us do.
I think the hardest thing for me, the graphic novel format is different, but also I do audiobooks for most of my reading.
Yep.
Reading. And there's no audiobooks really of graphic novels.
No. Well, you have what's it called?
Dramatized.
Like the big dramatized novels. Elantris has a big dramatized version that has all the cast and all that. I did not listen to it that way either.
So I'm going to say right off the bat is, you probably can't tell, we just unboxed this, right? We just opened it.
The spine is
the binding is
the
weak.
binding is weak.
And it's not glued well here. And on this side, it's coming apart here too. This back cover is, anyway. So it does look like it was a struggle for them to pull off.
It was a struggle for them to pull this off.
I'm fine. I think I want the content of this one. I'm sure it'll look nice on the shelf, but some things you do for collectorsness. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Some things you try to collect, other things you want the content.
Yes,
you want the content.
And he is writing a novel.
Really? He's writing a novel?
I know. 10 million of them. Of White Sands. Like, he's taking this and he's converting it into, like, just regular novel form rather than...
Someday,
yes.
We
In
don't
his
know when.
20-year plan that we hope he doesn't die before he comes to fruition of that.
We don't talk about Brandon.
Dying.
Brandon's potential demise.
It's
not going to happen. He's
No.
immortal. Him and the Lord Ruler got that figured out a long time ago. Anyway, so we're excited about this. So let's talk about
Alcatraz.
So
Let me pull up my questions.
yeah, if you're not familiar with the series, it was started years ago. And he wrote the first 5 books or 6 books. Oof.
Do we even know how
I think
many
5.
there were? 5.
And then it kind of hit a wall, and it went many years unfinished.
Yep.
And
he had some publishing issues with who was publishing the books. He was publishing them through Scholastic, and then Scholastic was like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. And the second one went really well, or the first one went really well. The second one dived, and then he had to find a new publisher for them. And
it's a lot of backstory. Didn't know that.
Yep.
Anyway, I had read through the published ones a couple years ago, just in my effort to have a complete reading of everything. And
I read the first one and stopped.
It was a little bit of a struggle.
Yep.
The last installment of the series finally came out, and we looked at each other and said, we should do this. We decided to do it together. We read the first one. Heather was done. I might have applied some pressure to get us to this point, but we did it, and we're here to share a few thoughts. Okay.
Yes.
So 15 to 30 seconds or less. Why don't you share your overall thoughts before we dive into these questions that you wrote down? Because I don't remember.
So Alcatraz is written in the vein of Lemony Snicket, where the author or the narrator breaks the fourth wall and directly speaks to you as the reader. And I hate this style of writing. It was very popular when he wrote Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. Lemony Snicket was coming out at the same time. He was writing the same style of book. Your middle grade readers love it. And I realized that he is writing to that audience. I read the first Lemony Snicket and couldn't make it through. I read the first one of Alcatraz and I said, I'm done. I can't stand the breaks in the stories constantly. Did I enjoy the story overall, minus all of that? Yeah. Like if all of that could have been taken out of it, then I enjoyed the story, but you can't get away from the irritating breaks in the story.
Wow. Wonder how she really feels. So I have a similar opinion. I do struggle to not finish a series if I start one.
Mm-hmm.
So I read the first book. I actually read all of the Lemony Snicket books too. I didn't realize they came out at the same time.
Yeah, they were the same era.
That's interesting. Anyway, it is really hard to get through. You have to be, if I was a spastic 10-year-old, this would really be my jam. Yeah, it would fit well.
Yeah.
just about anyone else. It was a struggle kind of looking past some of that. Now, I will say, well, we'll talk about pros and cons. There were some really funny points in there and whatever, but from a style standpoint, that made the books really hard to get through, and probably our biggest criticism and struggle with the series.
Yeah, it distracted from what the story was supposed to be.
Distracts from the plot.
Yes,
A
yeah.
little bit, the writing.
It took away from the plot, and the writing should never take away from
Because
the
you'd
plot.
be in the plot, you'd be listening to the story, getting to know the characters, and then all of a sudden you're getting a long monologue from a narrator to you
cheese.
about random things.
I don't care about cheese.
Or fish sticks.
Or fish sticks. I don't care about any of that. I want to know what's happening in Alcatraz. Anyways, so.
Okay, so but let's not just sit here and rant. Let's answer some questions.
So our first question: your favorite talent from the books?
So in the books there are Smedry
talents. They're interesting and unique.
Interesting and unique.
Yes.
Like the ability to break things, the ability to get lost, or to lose things,
or to be late,
or to be late,
or to be really bad at math.
Okay, yeah. So this is a good summary.
Yeah.
My favorite.
To trip.
Yeah. Okay. And so the question was my favorite of those that were in the book.
Those that were in the book. What was your favorite talent?
I think I really enjoyed the use of the one that was. And am I going to steal yours?
You might. We didn't discuss this before.
No, we didn't. I don't want to steal yours.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. If you steal mine, that's fine. We actually agree on something.
Oh, interesting.
No.
I think there was one where the girl was really bad at math.
Yep, that's
my favorite. Yep,
that's my favorite one. It's used very well, and she is hilarious. I cannot remember her name. It left me, and I tried to look it up, and I can't find it. But anyways, she is so funny.
Yeah, and
they use her.
Anyway, it's an interesting thing. She's bad at math, and how that is used in the story is if they ask her a question, whatever bad math answer she comes up with turns to be reality.
Yes.
So she has an odd effect on the world. So that's favorite.
That was
and yours is the same.
Mine was the same one, and it's because of the way that they used it. It was just he was masterful at bringing her in and making her really funny. And she's like, I'm really bad at math, and then going through all these things, and then she's like 5,000 something, and then that many teddy bear bombs come because they need all of those. And so it was the story around the whole thing, and she is hilarious.
And it may be speaking a little bit to those, again, this is a middle reader type book, speaking of those kids who feel a little lost in math and giving them a hero. I can appreciate that. I was always fairly good at math, but I still get it.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Anyway, excellent. What
next question?
What else we got?
What would our Smedry talent be if we could pick one?
Do I always have to go first?
I'll go first. I thought about this. I know which one I'd be. I would always be on time. Because then I wouldn't have to have anxiety about being on time. I just would know that I'm always on time.
So this is not in the book talent. This is if you could make up a Smedry talent.
Yes, if I can make up a Smedry talent, that's the one I would have.
Is that in keeping with the Smedry talents though? Because they're all a little. It's like a, what's the term? Like a backhanded compliment. Is that the right phrase? I
am not saying that I enjoyed the talent. I enjoyed the magic system of this book. I did not enjoy the magic system of this book. I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed very, very little of this book. So I'm not saying that I enjoyed the magic system. So I'm going to make a talent that I like. Being on time.
Wow. Okay. Again, there's a lot of things about this book. My answer is going to be so a lot of the talents were initially things that didn't sound like a positive thing, but then were turned to be a positive thing in the book.
Negatives.
Yeah, they appeared to be negative at face value.
Yeah.
And so mine would be the talent to stay up really late even when I'm dead tired.
Oh yeah, that's a good talent. He's actually really good at that. Yeah, he does that. He's really good at that.
But think how that could be used. It's like, I could outlast opponents.
Yeah.
If everyone else gets knocked unconscious and I was supposed to be unconscious, I'd be immune to unconsciousness, which happens a number of times in these books. They have weapons that shoot people where they go unconscious instead of being
dead. Nobody actually dies from
Very few people die. There's a few that die.
There are a few
but it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
But I would be immune to those.
You would.
Because I wouldn't be able to go to sleep when I was supposed to.
Yeah.
It might be a real talent. I might be a Smedry.
You might be. Which is at the end of the book. It says that.
Yeah, that we all
That
have.
we all have symmetry. Yeah. We all have symmetry talent.
Was that a spoiler? Spoiler alert. Maybe we'll put that at the beginning.
Yeah,
There are spoilers. We should say that. We are going to talk about spoilers in this book. Look, I stole your phone.
Yeah.
So I can ask the question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Let's see. What was your favorite, or who was your favorite character and why? I don't feel like I asked that well. Which character was your favorite?
Okay, so my favorite character is Bastille. And that's only because she finally gets the job done and finishes the series for me. I like her.
I'm going to say mine is probably Grandpa Smendry.
Oh, he's funny.
He's funny. So he does a lot of things. He's comic relief. He's also kind of the magical mentor. He's the Gandalf.
Yes.
Or the Professor Dumbledore. He's the one who mentors the hero, but then disappears and leaves the hero to his own devices. But from time to time, he comes back, and he may not always save the day. You don't necessarily look to the east in the morning to find him. But when he does come, he offers wisdom that I think kind of sends some of the points home and makes the book, kind of gives it another level. Again, it's written as a middle reader, but as an adult, it's still underneath it all. You peel away the layers, and it's a Brandon Sanderson story.
Yes.
It's all there.
Yes. All of the key things that Brandon does are there.
And I think Grandpa Smedry helps you get to that.
Very good.
And he's funny.
He is funny.
So, and he wears a tuxedo all the time.
Yep.
Favorite
book of all of them?
I'm probably gonna go with. I get the titles of the books. We listened to them rapidly, and so it was Shattered Lens, Dark Talent, and then Bastille. Did I get that right?
No, Bastille's the very last one.
Yeah, that's why I put it at the end of my list.
Oh, yes, Dark Talent. Yeah, you're going at the end of the series. Yeah, Dark Talent.
I want to say Dark Talent.
Really?
Yeah. So they are infiltrating, again, spoilers. They are infiltrating the base of the enemy.
The base of the enemy, yep.
And I think what I liked about that book is a lot of stuff that had happened all got brought in and referenced, right? So, classic world building, there's lots of things that you're learning about the magic system. There's events that happen, and a lot of those get referenced in the Dark Talent to kind of get to what ended up, I think, being a problematic ending.
Well, that's why he shelved it for a while. Brandon actually talked about how he wrote himself into a corner with that book, and he did not know how to get himself out of it. And he actually brought in Jancy Patterson, who is written some of the Skyward series for him and is continuing the Skyward series for him. She really wrote the last book for him.
They co-authored it.
But it is a sad day when another author must come in to save Brandon. And that had to happen for this series. It had to happen for this series.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, this is the problem with lives. I can't edit any of this. We do other videos, and I get to edit them, and then we have these discussions, and you never see them, and that's really a better way.
No, Jancy saves that series.
You don't know how much, they collaborated. They're co-authors.
Yes.
And you don't know who played which role.
I don't.
And you don't know where the real solution at the end of the day came from.
The solution at the end of the day was kind of wah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Jancy's contribution or whatever, and the Skyward books. I've read some of the stuff that she's taken the lead on. Fantastic.
Yeah,
she's great.
Yeah, she's done a really good job.
I hesitate to, we don't know. And so I hesitate to say stuff we don't know. But this is how we work. So
this is how we work.
It's fine.
I liked the last book because
it was over.
It's not just that. The
yeah.
last book has the least amount of interjections by Bastille. So she does not interject into the storytelling as much as Alcatraz did. And so her voice and how she tells the story is easier to follow. And it's like, okay, you're staying in your lane. You're doing what you're supposed to do, Bastille. I appreciated that.
So I can agree with that, but as you alluded to, the the final takedown of the villain, the ultimate bad guy,
it's wah, wah, wah.
was
Yes.
unsatisfactory.
Yes. The end of book 5 was like
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Yes. Yes.
And all the things.
Yep.
But the final book, did they wrap it up? Yes.
Yes.
In the moment when it's happening, are you on the edge of your seat, turning pages and like having this heroic, like, wow, look at that thing that just happened moment? No.
No, it is not a Sanderlanche. Sanderlanche. It is not a Sanderlanche.
We have abused his name so many times. I don't even know where you're going with this one.
That's what it's called.
Which is?
It's a term that people use where you get to the very end of the book, and it's just like an avalanche of like action and
awesome
movie.
Stuff.
Yes, awesome stuff, and it's called a Sanderlanche or a Sanderlanche.
I apologize for not being up on my terms. Is that a Casimir specific thing?
Yes, they talk about it on the Stormlight Archives page all the time. I've reached the Sanderlanche or Sanderlanche. Yeah.
Okay.
Avalanche, so Sanderlanche.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't really participate in the Facebook like the young kids. So I just called you a young kid.
We should say hi, Liz and Jamie. Yes, we have serious commitment to a series. Part of it is that the books are only 5-6 hour audios. Remember, these are middle grade readers. And
really? They're only 5 hours apiece.
Yes.
That means we have spent equal time ranting about each book as we spent listening to it.
Yes.
Interesting.
But it took us 6 months to read them because we just were not in the car that much together to read them, because we did audio and we listened to the audios together. We did finally, for the end, for Bastille versus the Evil Librarians, we both finished it separately because we were like, we got to be done reading this series.
We were trying to do a couples goal thing.
Yes.
Now I think maybe and that was fun.
It was fun.
I like that.
It was fun. It was very good to read the book together.
But it was hard to execute. So on future ones, anyway.
But we know how to make a commitment and keep it.
Was that our full list of questions?
That was our full list of questions. It's our last overall thoughts.
Final overall thoughts. Again, solid story underneath some of our objections. Really, again, if you are a spastic 10-year-old, you're going to love it. If you're not, there's probably other people that love it as well, but I don't know how to identify them to say, hey, you're going to love it at this. But if you are a true Sanderson fan, and I feel like you do need to read it to complete your... sometimes you just got to get through. It's like a long race. You got to get through a tough mile or two in the middle to finish the whole thing. You got to do it. That's why we did it.
The only reason I will say that you should read this book is read this series is because they're short. Like the whole series is going to be shorter than one Stormlight Archives. So you can read it and get it done really fast. I read an article about middle reader books. A middle reader series books specifically, and they said that it's a problem across the board for all middle reader series is that they're written for an age group that will age out of them before the author is done with the series. So he wrote Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians for those 10-year-olds, and they were like, yes, this is awesome, right? And then the second one came out very shortly after, but then he didn't get to the third one for a while, and by that point, that initial love group had moved on, so they'd aged out. And so now it's like, who's reading these?
If you're going to read them, I do suggest reading them quickly. Yep, pound through them, and that will help better, help get through some of those other times.
The reader, the narrator, the guy who actually narrates, fabulous job.
Yeah.
He was a great narrator.
And there's a different one for Bastille, but...
Yes, different one for Bastille.
Anyway. So... yeah, I think we've said all we should say about that.
Yep.
It is a good series, but has some challenges. May not be your jam. If for some reason you're watching this and you haven't read Sanderson books before, I will say don't judge
him by
Brandon
these.
Sanderson based on these books. Not that they're horrible, but they are not his standard works.
No.
Okay.
No.
What's next? Are we doing this ever again?
We'll see if anybody actually watches this.
So, yeah, well, and do we want to do this?
Do we want to do this again? Yeah, I'd do it again.
Okay.
The next book we're reading is
Goggins book.
Yes.
Oh, You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. You Can't Hurt Me.
I don't.
A title similar to You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Yes.
So we are both reading that one for a book club, and so
Mhm.
maybe that will be a good one to sit here and share a few thoughts on as well. Behind us we have our shelf, our sander shelf that we're still working on. One of these days we're actually going to finish. We have more swag and things to figure out where they go, and then I think we're still planning some sort of what do they call it? Bookshelf tour.
Yeah, a bookshelf.
A bookshelf
Somebody
tour.
asked for
Someone
that.
mentioned that, and we thought that was a great idea. We're just not organized. On this side, we have some of our favorite board games out still, so that's a whole different shelf. I don't know if that's anyway. We might try some of those things too. We're also considering moving this over into a separate channel. We haven't really.
Or not. I like having them on the same channel. But
Anyway, see, we're undecided on
yes,
that.
it means that our channel is not
Organized. I
and
hate junk drawers.
towards and
Anyway, we are now
Rambling.
We're now rambling.
we're
So
done.
anyway, that's what's coming up, and we'll see.
And tell
if
us,
and when we get
share
there.
us your thoughts on Alcatraz if you've read Alcatraz.
Yeah, let's hear about the book, and also you can help us avoid a junk drawer.
Yeah.
I'm down with that too. Anyway, good
Thank
time.
you. Bye.
Oh, I have to get up
Yeah,
over
you
here
have to
and
get
turn it
up
off.
over there and turn it off.
Oh, I want my camera back.
It is. It's coming home.